All right, so what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about clearing your mind without meditating. Yes, it is possible. If you can say yes to any of these, that you have no control over your brain, if your thoughts think you, if you have 100 tabs open all the time and no peace, if you have a critical or negative soundtrack, if you've not been successful yet at clearing your mind, or if you're a neurodivergent, this video is for you. Dawn's super here, helping people have better days by providing positive, encouraging mental health content. I'm doing this 5 days a week, and I'd love to talk about things that people like you need help with. So if you want me to talk about anything in particular, please be sure to make a comment down below. Now's a good time to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for my longer videos on Friday. I'm doing shorts Monday through Thursday. If you don't see me in your shorts feed, just pop over to my channel. There'll be an encouraging one there for you every morning, as long as I can pull this off. Okay, this video is captioned for people who have a hard time understanding what I'm saying or just don't want to hear the sound of my voice. You can read along instead. Everything's been edited. I appreciate your comments and your super thanks below the title of this video. You can give me tips and super thanks, and that'll help me keep this going. I'm going to do shout outs to my commenters and supporters at the end of this video. And there are chapter descriptions, chapter links in the description below. So if you want to jump around or come back to anything, this is kind of a long video, and it's important. So if you can't make it through all of it right now, hit that watch later and check it out deeper when you have time. Have you resigned yourself to feeling like you'll never be able to clear your mind? I had before I started this journey 8 years ago. I thought it would be impossible. Think about what it would be like. Would you find value in having a clear mind? What do you think would happen to your life if it actually got quiet up there? Well, I've had a clear mind for 7-8 years now, and I did it without meditating. I am neurodivergent, I have narcolepsy, and when I try to meditate, I just fall asleep. So it doesn't really work. Sleep is the ultimate meditation. When you're sleeping, it's like your brain's administrative assistant. It files all your memories and everything. So if you are sleep deprived, having a clear mind and focus will be a lot more challenging. I'm going to go over how I did this because the benefits of clearing my mind were life-changing, like extraordinarily so. The main things I'm going to cover in this video are the benefits of clearing your mind, regardless of how you attain it, momentum, why you have a hard time clearing your mind, timing, and practice. So none of these changes just happen. Having a clear mind, being a confident person, having self-esteem, feeling good about yourself, eliminating a negative soundtrack, those do not just happen on their own. You have to learn they're a thing, and then you have to identify them in your own life. And then you have to practice doing something different. And that's why I'm making all this content, because there is no real school for how to human. And there's no instruction manual that comes with a meat suit. And so many of us struggle with mental health concepts. And I just have this great way of putting things that helps people understand it. So stick around, and hopefully I'll help you understand why you want a clear mind and how to get there. So first, a relevant story. My son is 24 and exceedingly intelligent and humble about it as well. And he told me that he made an appointment to see the doctor. And I asked him why, and he said he wanted to be evaluated for ADHD. And I kind of wanted to laugh. Like in my mind, I was like, no, don't laugh, don't laugh. Because I don't want to diss my kid. But from what I know about my kid, I don't see him as having ADHD. I do see him as being neurodivergent. He has aphantasia, which is where you don't have any images in your mind when you close your eyes and try to imagine things. It's just blackness. And so I talked to him for a while about why I didn't think he had ADHD. And I'm going to tell you the same things that I told my genius kid. Just like how a body in motion stays in motion, a mind in motion stays in motion. So you can't bombard your brain from the minute you wake up until the minute you go to bed and expect your brain to slow down on its own. It's not possible. You have to give it what it needs to help it slow down. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. So no rest for the brain. Focus card. The card won't focus either. No rest for the brain equals no focus. You have to train your brain. And you can. It is a thing. That's kind of what meditation does, is it trains your brain. They talk about, you bring your thoughts into loving submission. Well, there was none of that for me. It was kill or be killed when I first started this. And I killed all my thoughts. I did, and I'll talk about that some more. So meditation is a challenge for neurodivergent individuals. I mean, it's hard for neurotypical people too, who just, 100 tabs open people. They don't have to be neurodivergent. They could just be under a lot of stress. So I can only meditate for like 5 minutes at a time, but because of the way my brain works, I have this ability to like swan dive straight into a transcendental state. And I close my eyes and I have these circles that come forward and they connect in front of my eyes with my eyes closed. And that's how I know I've disconnected from the rest of the world and I've connected to myself. And that's the goal of meditation, is to quiet everything down and connect to you. So if you can't do that through meditation, if you can't connect that quickly and you can't sit for more than 15 minutes, it seems kind of hopeless, doesn't it? Like, you don't see a whole lot of people talking about how do you clear your mind without sitting and staring at the candle or whatever, but you can do it. And there are a lot of reasons outside of neurodivergence that make obtaining a clear mind more of a challenge, much less living with a clear mind. And some examples are if you've lived through trauma, either in the past or you're still experiencing it now. If you have chronic illness or you're in pain on a daily basis, if you're being in a toxic work or home environment where you're surrounded by that intensity, having financial issues with no foreseeable way out. Those are very heavy, and they are a challenge, like a layer of sauce on top of this lesson that you're trying to learn. But I will tell you, I had all of those, like all of them, for most of my life. And I was able to get here to this place where I can watch a sunset, and when someone asks me what I'm thinking about, I can say nothing and I can mean it. And I'll tell you something, sunsets look a lot better that way. They really do. Okay, so why do you want a clear mind? I honestly don't think most of us ever think about it. Like, I don't think anybody's ever walking around going, oh, I wish I could clear my mind. They don't. So you have to bring things like this to your own attention, because you can't fix something if you don't know it's broken. So our brains have been running the show for so long, they're like a controlling lever. They intentionally try to keep things the way they are. They keep us comfortable and on our regular routine. And when you start to shake things up, things get shaken up. And so the brain is often just like that oft-hated phrase, it's just the way it is. And for most of my life, I really believed that. I believed that because of my limitations, I would never be able to clear my mind. And that's not true. You can do this. So instead of thinking about having a clear mind as the goal, think about the things that you get from having a clear mind as the goal. And those things are increased focus, a sense of peace, self-esteem. Oh, I skipped one. Stress relief, self-esteem and self-love, overcoming trauma, unexpected, increased problem solving. That's where the thumbnail came from for this video. So, focus. My son wants to be able to focus, and as smart as he is, he didn't make the connection that in order to focus, everyone upstairs has to shut up. You can't focus when you have that much going on. My son is very successful academically, and I think in the broadness of ADHD is missing for him. He has factors of ADHD, but so do I. I'm sleep deprived, and sleep deprivation looks like ADHD often. So I'm saying this to you because a lot of people hear, oh, I have ADHD, and they write themselves off. Don't ever write yourself off about anything. Like, know your limitations, but don't ever say you can't just because you have a label from the DSM or whatever. You decide as much as possible. So don't give up automatically. Peace, clearing your mind is like your brain finally sitting down after a long day. And until you have peace in your brain, you can't understand the value of it. You just can't. I used to listen to this one, like sort of meditation album, and it talked about instead of the mind being a battleground where you wage wars in your mind, let it be a playground where your mind is happy and entertaining. And I did it. I got here. My mind used to be a massive battleground. And now I'm singing songs to myself in my head when I'm quiet. Like, I don't think about stuff. Like, I think about stuff like this, like content and topics. And, I have clients and I work with them. And I think about how I can help them, that kind of thing, in our next sessions. But when I'm idle, my brain it's singing me songs. I have a super positive playlist in my playlist on my channel. So if you need some positive music, I have a lot more to add to it, but there's at least 75 songs in there that it can help you feel good about yourself. And music is medicine. It really is. Stress relief. A clear mind does not process stress the same way a busy mind does. You have more headspace when you're not bombarding yourself with stuff all the time. Self-esteem. When you're able to stop the monkey in your mind that's telling you suck all the time, you see yourself in a different way. I had a critical soundtrack for the majority of my life. And once I was able to quiet that and not think bad things about myself all the time, it was a lot easier for my brain to be quiet and to become a cheerleader. And you start to see yourself differently, to see yourself maybe for the first time. Because up until that point, you're just a amalgamation of the trauma sauce that's been poured on you over the course of your life. Which leads me to overcoming trauma. This was an unexpected benefit for me. There's a lot more to it, but when you're not thinking about your trauma in any way, you step away from it for a bit. And as that continues, you come to see the true distance between you and your trauma. And I was able to see that my trauma happened to a different person than this person. This person is strong, and like it never would happen to me again, what happened to me that caused my trauma. And that came from being able to clear my mind and stop the thoughts connected to the trauma. Increase problem-solving abilities. You cannot think your way out of your problems. You can't. The same mind that's been managing these problems for so long is not going to find you a solution. And the solutions are not going to come until you shut down and get quiet. And when you get quiet, you'll just be doing the dishes and bam, here comes, oh, that's where I left that thing. And then you go get it. Or you're, folding your clothes and then bam, oh yeah, that's what I can do about that. I totally didn't even think about that before. Because when you're quiet, your brain has a chance to sort things out for you. So can you see the value now if you didn't before in having a clear mind? Did you make those connections before? And did you really realize like the end result benefits? Like, sure, clearing your mind, blah, 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 but did you really get why? Comment below, because I'd love to know if you made those connections, that focus and self-esteem and those other things are connected to having a clear mind. Momentum. What is in your mind? So one of the biggest benefits of coaching is that you have someone there to hold your hand and go through your own personal what's in your mind list. All of my clients see the benefit of clearing their mind in our first session, and they leave that first session with the tools that they need to go forward in their own life and apply those tools for themselves. It's one of the best things that comes out of coaching is, with me anyway, because I could teach you how to do it, is having that clear mind and being able to reap all of the benefits that come with it. I was dealing with a ton of stuff when I started trying to take this on. I had it all. I had every negative thing you could imagine. And again, I didn't think it was possible, but here I am doing it. I'm doing the thing, Mom, doing the thing. All right, so you might not have all that other stuff going on, but if you do, it's still possible. So take a moment and just think for a second about the kind of things that bombard your brain. Things that already happened, things that are going to happen, things that should have happened, things you wish would happen, conversations, your bills, TV shows you watch, the characters that you love, the news, drama in the world, your coworkers, your family, your friends, their lives, their situations. It's a lot of data, right? Like a lot of data. In fact, the brain processes about 11 million bits of data a second. Not just from outside, but from inside as well, your cells and everything's constantly communicating with the brain. So when you intentionally clear space, our conscious minds can handle 40 to 50 bits a second. 40 to 50, that's it. That's where we max out. So when your mind is clear, you have more room to see those 40 to 50 bits and not overlook things and not miss them because you're trying to process 100 bits instead of 50 and it's just not working. Okay, timing. When is it in your mind? The stray thoughts. So you might be surprised to know that 50% of the time our minds are wandering around like a toddler at the petting zoo. It's just, that's what happens with humans. 50% of the time, our minds are wandering. And it doesn't always cause problems for us, for our minds to wander. But when we need to focus, that's when it causes problems for us. When we need peace and quiet to sleep, that's when it causes problems for us. When we have a situation we're trying to deal with and we can't quiet our mind, it increases our cortisol levels. We might pop into fight, flight. And then it's harder to back down from that. Like your body's ready to go. And you're like, what's going on? So right now you're listening to me. Well, hopefully you're still there. Haven't dropped off yet. And you might be zoning out now and again, especially if I'm not holding your attention, which I hope I am. You can tell me if I am. Anyway, this is a YouTube video and one that you can rewind if you missed something or come back to later, but you can't do that with a conversation in person. You can't. You need to be able to focus on what the other person is saying. When you're trying to work, when you're trying to study, when you have things to do, A busy mind makes you have to reread things. So if you're rereading things and you don't need a nap, because needing a nap does that to you too. But if you're rereading things, take a minute. Take a minute and close your eyes and listen to your favorite song, like 3 minutes or a minute of your 3 minutes, and just sing it and enjoy it and shut off what's going on in there now. Take some time over the next, 24 hours or so to pinpoint where your thoughts take you off, right? Like, are you beating yourself up in the shower? Are you feeling bad about what you're rehashing in your mind while you're driving your car? Any idle time is a problem for you? When you're trying to go to sleep at night, is that a problem for you? And Notice it's the freneticism of your mind that's keeping you from what you want to do. And then the next thing to do is to practice. How do you stop a crazed mind? How do you stop the noise inside? And again, this is best when it's custom for you in one-on-one coaching. But I'm going to tell you how I got started, and you can tweak it from there and keep what works for you and leave what doesn't. When I discussed this with my son, he told me that he hadn't made the connection from the consumption of data to the end result of monkey mind. You can't avoid data. It's constantly coming at you. But you can train your brain to act as a shield to that data. It will work. You just need to figure out which magical tool from your mental health toolkit is going to do the trick for you. So mantras. Whether you're into woo stuff or not, mantras are great because they're essentially words that you may not necessarily understand. They help you quiet your mind because you're focusing on the words themselves, saying them in order, pronouncing them correctly, and you're focused on that and not whether or not you can afford eggs this week. Okay, as an example, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum is a Buddhist mantra, which loosely translates to practice can help you change your being. And it would be quite appropriate for this. So that showed up in the captions, Om Mani Padme Hum. If you want to try that one, repeating a mantra as you fall asleep, when you're driving, in the shower, or any other time when you need a few minutes break from your thoughts. You could also translate a short quote, live free or die, or, anything really. Eat chocolate chips at bedtime, and just translate it into another language so that the words are not words you're used to. And you have to remember how to pronounce them and the order that they come in. And it makes it a little bit more challenging, and you have to focus a little bit harder. So prayer also works as a mantra, but you have to be mindful that if you know the prayer by heart, your mind can still wander. You find yourself saying it automatically, but your brain is still thinking about what you need from the grocery store tomorrow. So that's why I suggest a mantra. You could take something small and translate it, like I said. It just has to be a slight challenge. And if I do stray with my thoughts while repeating the mantra, I imagine the words in my mind, like Om Mani. I see the letters as if they're in like a neon sign in my brain, and just focus on that, and then just keep repeating, and then that helps me stay in that repetition. You can't think about other things when you're saying something. I can't think about what I'm going to get at the grocery store while I'm recording this video. I mean, human beings just aren't that capable. Music is my go-to for everything. It's really life-changing medicine if you know how to use it properly. And that's something, again, that I deal with a lot in my coaching. Playing music in your car can help you keep your mood up. when you start thinking about your baloney, you can sing the songs out loud. If you don't know the song, you can repeat the words after the singer sings them. And what music you choose is super important. You don't want to listen to songs that are going to trigger you. You don't want to listen to songs that are going to make you feel anything other than good. Because life is short. Why would you want to feel anything other than good? Okay, guided meditations as you sleep. So there are meditations that talk, to calm you down or whatever. And when you're listening to those, again, your brain can wander. So I found it helps me to just repeat what the speaker is saying as they're saying it. And then that helps me stay in that guided meditation until I fall asleep. While you're sleeping, you can listen to something like Om chanting or instrumental music. It'll just help keep your brain calm as you go through this. I still listen to Oms every night. I have narcolepsy, and I go in and out of REM a lot, and it's often difficult for me to tell if I'm awake or if I'm dreaming. So if I close my eyes and listen, and I can hear Oms, I know I'm awake. Silly little neurodivergent trick there. If I can't hear the Oms, I know I'm dreaming about whatever I'm seeing. Okay, number 5 is something that people tell you can't do. They say that it never works, but it worked for me. Tell your brain to shut up. Be a rebel. Screw what the other people say and just give it a try. At the time I was doing this, there was a lady that I would see. She was a crossing guard at my kid's school, and she was having some problems with her adult child. And I jokingly told her she should take her, sit down, please. She should take her stop sign home. And when her kid starts acting up, just hold the stop sign up and make him stop, make him laugh, and make him stop. And so when I needed to stop thinking about my situation, because it was very difficult not to think about the situation, I would imagine Carol marching into my brain and just holding up that sign, stop. And it actually worked. They say it doesn't work, but it totally worked for me. Just refusing to think about the thing that's got you jacked up is how I be a rebel. You got nothing to lose, right? Nothing to lose. So let's see. Okay, I said all of that. Okay, so I have so much control over my brain at this point that I very rarely ever have negative thoughts, like at all. I might have noticed something negative and have a problem-solving thing about it, but I very rarely get upset anymore by things like that because I control my emotions by controlling my thoughts. So something will happen and it normally would have upset me. And because my mind is clear, I'm able to have the mindfulness to say, let's see where this goes before we let ourselves get jacked up about it. Okay, so when you know yourself truly, no one else can tell you who you are. And that's a very important aspect of being able to clear your mind, because when other people come at us with their expectations of us that aren't being met, we often can think poorly about ourselves, and it triggers our negative soundtrack, and we just start bagging on ourselves. And I want to encourage you to never do that. From the cradle to the grave, you're the only one who's always going to be there, and you need to be on your own side all the time. Even if you're wrong, admit you're wrong, but have your own back. Don't ever disparage yourself in that way. So there you have it. Now you know why it's so important to clear your mind, when to look out for not having a clear mind, and some ideas on what you can do about it. And all that's left is for you to practice. So who's excited to try? Are you excited to try to clear your mind? If you are, comment. I'd love to hear your comments. If you want a guide through this, if you want some personalized help, someone to hold your hand and help you learn how to clear your mind without meditating, hop over to my website, dawnsuper.com, and I talk about the kind of people who need my coaching, and I have some recommendations on there and pricing, etc. Now we're at the shout outs. Shout out to my supporters. I'm so excited to have supporters here on YouTube. I have a pretty good following on Facebook, but this is fairly new to me on YouTube. So thank you so much to you returning viewers and you commenters and you likers. I don't know who the likers are because they don't tell me, or who the returning viewers are. So comment if you want to say how many of my videos you've watched so far. I have like 135 now. They're all geared toward helping you feel better about yourself and have a better experience as a human being. So feel free to pop on to any of my older content too. I've made some playlists to keep the specific topics together, so you can just run through the whole playlist. Okay, shout outs. On YouTube, I'd like to give big thanks to Sunny D. So happy that you're still with us. Lynn Stryker, Barbara Rosen. I'm glad that you enjoyed my Killing the Monkey video. I hope you got to see this one because I took out the focus on chronic illness from that video to do this video. Brian Remedy, Brian, my brother, you're always looking out. Appreciate you so much. On Facebook, I want to thank Ben Jackson, who has given me some of the best advice I've had doing this so far. Caroline Brown and Terry Brown, thank you for being such great cheerleaders for me. Michael Everett and Jeffrey Nix and Christine Forrest, thank you for your comments. And I'd like to give a special thanks to Iran for all of the coaching that he's given to me and how much he's helped me stay in a mindful state. I'm taking content requests, so if you want me to do videos on anything in particular, boundaries, confidence, self-esteem, grace, gratitude, just say it. Say it below and I will make it happen for you. That's it. 59-second caption shorts, Monday through Thursday. If you don't see me in the feed, you've got to come to my channel, Dawn Super, to find them. Longer vids like this one on Friday. They'll be anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes, depending on how deep the topic is. So if you like the deep dives, definitely hit that bell so that you know when I drop them. I'm going to try and drop everything at 7 o'clock in the morning, dawn at dawn. And as long as my health permits, I will continue to do that. So come check me out and have better days. If you want to support my channel, there's a thing called Super Thanks now underneath the title of the video. If you're looking at the longer videos, you can give me a tip, a cash tip for the video. Woohoo! You can also see that on the shorts at the bottom. It says Super Thanks. You can also buy me a coffee if you want to do that. buymeacoffee.com/Dawn Super. And you can Venmo me if you want to send me some thanks for all the content I'm putting out. It's Dawn-Super. And again, that shows up in the captions. And thank you so much for helping me live my dream of being of service and helping people have a better life. Make it a great day. The choice is always yours.